Hello everyone, so I wanted to do a video on what some people are calling Snowvid, and just kind of my experience with what happened. So I live in San Antonio, Texas. All of Texas was affected, all of the country was affected by this stupid snowstorm that we had last week, and Texas was especially affected because apparently our power grid was on the brink of failing, and millions, I've heard anywhere from 3.7 to 4 point something million people were without power, which is pretty significant. Now, the power grid did not fail completely, but it definitely, I don't know all the politics behind what happened with the power grid. From what I've heard, they shut down or reduced capacity of the power plants during the winter months, because typically we don't run our heaters as much as we do, because even in the winter months it does not get super cold. We do get ice just about every single year. We have at least 1 or 2 days of ice, but it doesn't get how it was, where the entire country, or the entire state is like that. San Antonio does get ice every single year. I don't know about the other cities. I do know Dallas usually gets snow, but everything else I'm not 100% sure about. But so I kind of wanted to go over what I experienced and how all of this happened, from my understanding. So they do the reduced capacity because they say, oh, we don't need as much power during the winter months as we do during the summer months, because summer, there's not a single day where it's not above 100 degrees, or at least it hasn't been that way in quite a few years. Or at least the heat index, if it stays in the 90s for a reason, the heat index usually does get up to about 100 something degrees. So it was extremely cold for us, which the snow is beautiful, and if we had power, it would not have been the problem that it is. The snow was not the problem. It was not. I know people are, there's memes out there that are saying, so you mean to tell me that your weakness is snow? It's like, no, it was not the snow. The snow was really pretty, and that was not the problem. The problem was the power going out and the reduced capacity with whatever that was, and the rolling outages did not work. They either stopped doing them, weren't able to do them, I'm not sure why. So Sunday we were prepared for snow. It was supposed to start snowing sometime during the Sunday in the afternoon, and like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it kept changing what time it was supposed to start. So I think it finally ended at starting sometime Sunday in the afternoon. We waited to see if it snowed. It looked gloomy, but it never snowed Sunday afternoon. So it got to be about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and my husband was going to go to bed, and I was watching an episode of Sister Wives before I went to bed. We started hearing screaming. And we're like, okay, this is not the kids. What's going on? And then we're like, well, maybe it is snowing. So we looked outside, and it did start to snow. And it was really pretty. I played out in the snow because I had never been anywhere with that much snow on the ground. We got a good inch to an inch and a half in like under an hour or two. I made a snow angel, did all the things, posted it on Instagram. We were prepared for rolling outages. We're like, okay, well, if it's rolling outages, it's gonna suck whenever the power goes out, but it will eventually come back on. So Sunday night, the power started to do that throughout the middle of the night because I remember the baby monitors kept, anytime that the power would go out and then come back on, the baby monitor would say, like, please make sure that you keep cords away from the crib or whatever it says, like whatever safety message it says. It kept saying that in our room. So so the power did, I know, go out at least twice in the middle of the night. At one point, Chris got up and just unplugged the baby monitors because it kept waking us up. And it wasn't super cold because we had heat all throughout the day. So Monday, when we got up, it was cold in the house. It was a holiday for President's Day, so the kids were home and they were all huddled together eating breakfast, actually upstairs in my son's bedroom that we keep the baby in, so we know that he doesn't get too hot or too cold. When we moved here, that's where we put the thermostat for the upstairs. He was right at a year, right under a year. No, I don't remember how long we've been here now. Anyways, that's besides the point. That's where we have it. So they were all in there because that was the smallest room, easiest room to keep heated. Without the power, I woke up and I was like, okay, well, let's start a fire downstairs in the fireplace. So I came down here, got a fire going. Power came on, and it would come on for 15-minute intervals and be off for 45-minute intervals. And it did that throughout the day. Then at about 5:30, it went out completely, and we didn't have power for the rest of the night. Tuesday, we woke up, there was zero power. My husband had to go to work. I think it was like a delayed start, or I think he went to work on Tuesday. He either went to work on Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember what day he went to work. He went to work on Tuesday. So it was a delayed start, but he did have to go to work. I think it was, yeah. Because the snow had started to melt at that point a little bit. So Tuesday he went to work. We had no power, then all of a sudden it came on, and it came on right around noon, and it stayed on till about 4:30, 4:30, 5:30, something like that. So we did have a 5-hour block of time that we had power, but that was it. It was not a rolling outage. It was a chunk of time, and then after that, we did not have power. So Monday, lunch and dinner was served. What did we do? I don't remember what exactly the meals were that we had, but it was, we cooked on the fireplace. Tuesday, breakfast and lunch was on the fireplace, and the power came on, of course, after lunch was done. And then when I was getting ready to start figuring out what to do for dinner, the power went out again. So dinner was also cooked on the fireplace. Wednesday, we had zero power all day long. It snowed again. And I think, Sunday we had 4 inches of snow. We ended up, Monday morning whenever I woke up and I went out there and I measured it, it was 4 inches of snow. Sunday we had at least another 3 inches of snow. I did not measure it on Sunday to see how much snow it actually was, but it was a pretty decent amount of snow. The power on Wednesday stayed off pretty much all day. No, the power on Wednesday did stay off all day. It may have been Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of those two where we would get 3-minute intervals and it'd be off for 10, 3-minute intervals, off for 10, 3-minute, and it did that probably about 4 or 5 times, not significant enough to actually count that as having power. And then at about 11 o'clock at night, it did like a 30-second burst of energy, and then that was it. We were done with energy. So that had to have been on Tuesday, because Wednesday we did not have power all day long. Thursday, we finally got power at 6:30 in the morning. So other than the very few intervals of 15 minutes on Monday, then shut down at 5:30, then Tuesday those that 5-hour block, and then the 3-minute intervals in the evening, then no more power. We were without power for the majority of the time. So Thursday we finally got power back on 6:30. We were not optimistic. We were kind of like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. I don't think I built a fire, but we got everything ready in case if we did need to build a fire if the power went out. It actually surprisingly stayed on. And then we got a notice. Wednesday it came through as an urgent text message, but I know that it was like all over the place. San Antonio's water system had some type of pipe that did not get enough pressure to keep moving the water, to keep pushing the water through, and because it did not have enough pressure, they were saying that they could not guarantee that it was sanitized. So we had to boil our water, which did really suck. I don't like drinking tap water as it is, but then to have to boil it on top of it, in the back of your mind you have this like thing saying like you're boiling it because it's not sanitized. We had to boil it for a minimum of 3 minutes, and it wasn't they worded it as being an abundance of caution. I think that they did that because they didn't want to be, I don't know why they said it that way and not mandated it or whatever the case was. But I mean, the whole thing. And CPS, our energy company, I don't know if they can control the rolling outages, but the power being just shut off completely, I do believe that that had everything to do with like the main company, ERCOT or whatever it's called. But we were under the boil notice from Thursday. Power came back on, but our router had been turned on and off so many times that it screwed with it. So we, of course, had to call the internet company. The internet did not come back on until late Thursday night. Thursday afternoon, I think, is when it came on. So Friday finally came around, and it was, I had internet, I had power, still under the boil notice, but I at least had the internet and the power, so I was finally able to work a little bit on Friday. Kids were going stir crazy. We had not been out of the house because I just did not want to drive on the ice. I don't know. It was just a mess. Sunday I had cell service, obviously, because the snow didn't start till the night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had very limited cell service. I would get bursts of cell service. I would get bursts of internet whenever the power happened to randomly come on for the 2 to 3 minutes it was on, and then it would shut back off and I wouldn't have it again. And I couldn't get group text messages. So my mom and my sister were trying to like do a group text message with me, and I was like, I can't see what you're sending. I see that you're sending something, but I can't read it. So everything was like just one message at a time. And even some of those failed to go through. So Thursday we finally got the power back on. I finally got cell service back. I don't think the boil notice was lifted until Saturday afternoon. It may have been lifted for our region Saturday morning, but I want to say it was Saturday afternoon. Basically, what they were doing is they were going region by region, testing the water to see if it could be lifted, and then going from there. I do know that some places in San Antonio are not trusting the city's tests, and they're conducting their own tests. I know that the schools are not trusting the water. They are, I don't know if they're waiting to flush the system or if they are changing out filters or what they're doing exactly, but they every day, as it is because of COVID, my son has to take a water bottle and that he fills up. They're not allowed to use the water fountains every day. On top of that, now they also have to take another water bottle to fill up their main water bottle because they don't have access to the fill stations or to the sink to fill it up anymore. So they're still doing that. I don't know how long that's going to last. I'm hoping it ends soon. It's already Wednesday, so I don't know if they're just going to do that for the rest of the week and then flush the system over the weekend or what they're going to do. So yeah, that was kind of, I had notes and I feel like I was still kind of all over the place with it, but it was very hard to keep track of days because we basically lived in that one room, and then of course upstairs we'd go to bed, but we would basically live in that one room. We never went without food. We never went without water. We usually have 2 cases of water on hand. We did go through that, so we did end up having to boil the water, like I said. But we never went without. And then we're lucky enough or blessed enough to have a fireplace. Not everybody has a fireplace. We were also blessed to get power back on Thursday. There are some people that still did not have power until Friday. Some people never lost power because they shared a power grid with a hospital, so they didn't lose power, but the water thing still affected them. But I will say that 72 hours worth of food, which is what they recommend that you have on hand, does not seem like enough, especially if you are having to dip into the canned goods because you don't have a fireplace to cook and you have to be able to eat something that just out of a can, because this lasted for longer than 72 hours. The water thing lasted for longer than the 72 hours, or at least it felt like it did, because we were boiling the water. We did not lose that much food, thankfully. There was some food that we lost. Milk, we lost. Eggs, I knew that the temp on the refrigerator was getting to the point where it wasn't going to be safe, so I just kind of cooked all the eggs at once, and we're like, okay, we're going to have breakfast, and everybody gets 2 eggs, or however many eggs were left. In the freezer, it did start to defrost, and it did start to get down to where it was above the level that it's supposed to be at, but that didn't happen until Wednesday night, so I was already trying to plan what to do. We have another fridge and freezer outside, and I was like, well, maybe we can stick in the fridge out there, and because that one was colder than the one inside, obviously. And then Thursday, when I saw we had power, the first thing that I did, I was like, okay, I am going to cook all the hamburger meat that we had because it was defrosted, and it was at a temperature where it was still at like the refrigeration temperature, but it wasn't the freezing temperature, freezer temperature. So I went ahead and I cooked all that, so we didn't lose that meat, thankfully. I know some people did lose everything, or just had very limited resources. So 72 hours worth of food, I would not say is enough. 72 hours worth of water, I don't think is enough. It was very, very eye-opening to be in those situations, to be without electricity, to be without heat, to be without a way to cook food. It was just very eye-opening. And in a way, I am glad that we went through it, because it did kind of give us that perspective. But I really hope that Texas plans better. And that could be a whole another separate video on the power grid thing that failed. And I was trying to explain to my son yesterday. He was like, I don't like snow because it made the power go out. And I was like, no, the snow did not make the power go out. The snow is beautiful, and I love the fact that it snowed, and I would love for it to snow again. The snow did not make the power go out. What made the power go out was something completely different. So anyways, that's my perspective of it. I am seriously thinking about investing in solar panels, because there were a few houses in our neighborhood that did have power because they had solar panels to, I guess, generate power throughout the day. I think my mom and my dad are actually buying us a generator, a backup generator, in case if something like this happens again. So it was a crazy experience. Now that we've been through it, we can go ahead and say, okay, well, we know where we need to better prepare ourselves in case of something like this happens again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. Yeah, it was nuts. So, okay, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.